There is an old Japanese saying whispered only among warriors who have buried too many brothers. A panicked mind dies before the body does. Steel can cut flesh, arrows can pierce armor, but nothing destroys a warrior faster than the collapse of his own inner world. When the mind fractures, even the strongest hands begin to tremble, and the heartbeat that once sounded like a war drum suddenly becomes the echo of defeat. This is the story of Ren, a young warrior whose blade was precise, but whose spirit was fragile in ways no one else could see. On open fields he fought with admirable skill, yet in the instant before danger struck, his thoughts splintered like cracked ice, revealing a truth he tried desperately to hide. Fear was not his enemy. His lack of control was. Sensing the tremor inside him, Ren's clan sent him to a hidden monastery high in the mountains, where an old master named Kaishi guarded a system whispered only among those who walked the edge between life and death. This was not a training of muscle or weapon, but a rewiring of perception, a ritual crafted from Zen silence, Bushido resolve, and the ancient understanding that the battlefield inside one's mind is the only battlefield that ever truly matters. Here begins Ren's awakening, a journey into the Japanese system designed to create a mind that never panics, a mind that breathes through storms, sees through chaos, and remains untouched even when the world shatters. If your inner silence has stirred, stay. The path is ready to receive you. Ren arrived at the mountain monastery long before sunrise, the air thin enough to expose every weakness he carried. His footsteps echoed against stone walls that had watched centuries of trembling men come seeking strength. Yet none of them, he feared, trembled quite like him. His heartbeat, always too quick, always too loud, felt like a cracked drum announcing a truth he wanted no one to hear. Panic lived inside him like a shadow with its own breath. Master Kaishi studied him silently from the courtyard, noticing the subtle flinch in Ren's jaw, the way his eyes darted as if expecting an enemy that wasn't there. Ren mistook these reactions for flaws. Kaishi saw them as symptoms, the mind creating illusions faster than reality could unfold. Ren bowed, but his breath shook. That was when Kaishi spoke the first unsettling words of Ren's new life. Fear is not hunting you, Ren. Your own mind is. Kaishi led Ren into a dim hall where old weapons hung like silent witnesses. The air smelled of cedar and forgotten battles. In the center rested a single object, a locked wooden drawer, its surface scorched as if touched by fire long ago. Kaishi tapped it lightly. Inside this drawer, he said, is the reason warriors panic. It is never what they think. Ren felt a flicker of dread, the kind that rises without a clear source. Kaishi noticed. The ego, he continued, loves to invent threats. It believes fear protects you, but fear without discipline becomes a storm that destroys its own home. A mini-climax broke through Ren's chest, a sudden realization that the danger he'd always feared might not be outside him, but inside this unseen drawer, inside his own mind. Kaishi turned away, offering only a riddle. A storm only destroys what has no roots. The words landed like a seed and a warning, and Ren understood the path ahead would demand more than courage. It would demand surrender. Chapter 2 begins with the unlocking of the first ritual, the breath that cannot break. At dawn, Kaishi brought Ren to a courtyard where frost clung to stone like a memory refusing to melt. In the center lay a burned ledger, charred around the edges, its pages fused shut. Kaishi set it before Ren without explanation. This, he said quietly, is what panic does to the mind. It burns everything before you ever have a chance to read it. Then he instructed Ren to kneel. What I teach you now is not meditation. It is survival. Ren obeyed, though his chest tightened the way it always did when silence grew too loud. Kaishi placed a hand on Ren's back, right where the spine meets breath. In battle, your body obeys your mind. But your mind obeys your breath. Break this chain, and panic takes command. Ren inhaled and felt something resist him from within, a familiar storm rising. Kaishi leaned in. Breathe again. This time do not run from what appears. A pulse of dread surged through Ren like a forgotten wound reopening. Ren inhaled again, slower this time, and the storm inside him shifted. With each breath, memories he had spent years avoiding pushed upward. A red thread of shame from childhood. Moments when his trembling hands were mocked by older warriors. The night he froze during training and believed something inside him had broken forever. Panic wasn't random. It had a history, a face, a voice. Kaishi watched him carefully. Do not silence these memories, he said. Let them rise. A breath that cannot be broken is forged from what you once feared. Ren exhaled, and for the first time, the weight in his chest loosened instead of crushing him. A mini climax rippled through him. A brief moment where time seemed to slow, not because danger left, but because presence arrived. A thin stillness settled over him, unfamiliar yet undeniable. Kaishi nodded. You just tasted the mind you are destined to build. But before Ren could celebrate, Kaishi lifted the burned ledger again, unopened, unread, and whispered, Until you learn to breathe through fire, your past will keep writing your future. And so begins Ren's descent into the Hall of Quiet Mirrors, where fear speaks in his own voice. Night fell heavy over the monastery, the kind of darkness that presses against the ribs and invites old wounds to whisper. Kaishi led Ren through a wooden dagger marked with a cracked cross, the symbol of a spirit split between who it pretends to be and who it truly is. Inside waited the Hall of Quiet Mirrors, a circular chamber where polished obsidian reflected not bodies, but unspoken truths. Panic, Kaishi said, is not fear. It is the ego screaming for protection. Ren stepped forward, and the mirrors awakened. In one reflection, he saw himself failing before his clan. In another, he watched his hands shake as warriors laughed behind him. A third showed a future where he froze in battle, dooming someone he loved. His breath hitched. The ego doesn't show reality. It shows wounds wearing masks. Kaishi's voice cut through the illusions. Do not fight what appears. Observe it. A cold dread rose in Ren's stomach, because one mirror showed something he had never dared face. In the farthest mirror, Ren did not see failure on the battlefield. He saw himself as a boy, hiding behind a door, listening to voices tear his name apart like paper. Not enemies, his own people. The first time he heard someone say, "He will break when it matters." The echo of that sentence had followed him into every fight. His chest tightened, a mini climax of shame and rage colliding, like two waves crashing in the dark. His instinct was to look away, to reject the image, to argue with it. But Kaishi's earlier words returned. Do not argue with what is. Witness it. Ren forced himself to stay, to breathe, to let the humiliation exist without letting it define him. Slowly, the mirrors began to lose their noise. The images remained, but the emotional grip loosened. The ego screamed. A deeper silence answered. Kaishi stepped beside him, eyes calm. When you stop debating your past, he said, it loses the power to decide your future. Ren felt no victory, no triumph, only a quiet, unsettling calm. The kind that comes when you realize the real battlefield was never outside these walls at all. At sunrise, Kaishi led Ren into a courtyard unlike any he had seen, a place built to break the unprepared. Bamboo poles swung unpredictably from ropes, striking the air with sharp cracks. Hidden mechanisms triggered sudden shouts from wooden masks. Targets darted in and out of shadows like ghosts with their own agenda. It was a storm crafted by human hands, precise, merciless, deliberate. This, Kaishi said, is the world you fear. Ren stepped forward, but the chaos swallowed him instantly. His breath scattered, his body tensed. A bamboo pole grazed his shoulder, another struck his leg. Every sound felt like a threat, every movement a warning. He swung at nothing, reacted to everything, drowned in noise. A mini-climax hit him as he realized the truth. He wasn't fighting the courtyard. He was fighting his own mind, trying to control what could not be controlled. Kaishi's voice echoed through the disorder. Chaos is not your enemy, Ren. Your attachment to it is. Ren froze, breath shaking, spirit trembling. Ren closed his eyes, not to escape the chaos, but to separate himself from it. He inhaled, slow and disciplined, as Kaishi had taught. When he opened them again, something subtle had shifted. The courtyard hadn't grown quieter. He had. The bamboo poles still swung, the mask still screamed, the shadows still leapt. Yet none of it pierced him the way it had moments before. He stepped forward, not to fight, but to move with what was happening. A pole sliced past his ear. He leaned just enough. A target flashed from the left. His body adjusted without panic. His breath stayed steady. His heartbeat refused to bow. Kaishi watched, hands behind his back. "A warrior does not rise above fear," he said softly. He steps beside it and makes space. Ren walked through the final stretch of chaos untouched, and for the first time in his life, pressure did not change him. But as soon as he crossed the courtyard, Kaishi's gaze shifted toward a sealed red door Ren had never noticed before. A place no one spoke of. And it was toward that door Kaishi would lead him next. Kaishi finally opened the sealed red door from the previous chapter, not into another hall of mirrors, but into the winding path that descended toward the village Ren once called home. "Chaos outside is easy," Kaishi said. "Chaos that carries your name is not." Ren walked alone. The village had changed, yet carried the same emotional scent. Unresolved guilt, old betrayals, voices he once feared more than blades. Each step felt like treading through a buried ledger of memories he never wanted to read. He passed the training yard where older warriors mocked his shaking hands. He paused at the well where he once overheard someone say, "He will break when it matters." His breath trembled, a mini collapse, but he caught it. Unbreaking breath. Ego awareness. Controlled chaos. He used everything he had learned not to run, not to explain, not to crumble. Presence held him upright. But at the far end of the street, someone stepped out from a doorway. Someone Ren never expected to face again. From the shadowed doorway emerged the man who had first humiliated Ren as a child. The instructor who once slapped his trembling hands in front of the clan, declaring, "Weakness announces itself before the body does." The memory struck like a blade dipped in old poison. The man smirked now, older but unchanged. So, the boy returns. A younger Ren would have folded inward, flooded by humiliation and the desperate urge to prove himself. But something within him had shifted. His breath did not break. His shoulders did not tense. Even the old red thread of shame tugging at his chest could not drag him backward. Ren simply stood, calm, steady, unwavering. For the first time, the man's smirk faltered. Presence, real presence, has a way of unsettling those who rely on intimidation. Ren bowed gently, without fear, and stepped past him, choosing not to fight the past, but to outgrow it. At the path's end, Kaishi waited in silence. "You have one choice left," the master said. "Remain the man they shaped, or become the one you were meant to be." Ren inhaled once, deeply. And far behind him, in the village he had just walked through, a door slammed shut, as if a part of his old self refused to die quietly. Chapter 6 begins where every warrior is reborn, in the ambush designed to break the unprepared. Ren returned to the monastery at dusk, when the world holds its breath between light and darkness. Kaishi stood waiting at the highest terrace, a place used only for the final trial. No words were spoken, no instructions given. Only a silent nod, and Ren understood. The test had already begun. The moment he stepped forward, chaos erupted. Explosive cracks echoed from hidden chambers, shadows lunged, wooden arrows fired from impossible angles. Drums thundered, the same rhythm that once shattered his breath. A burst of smoke blinded him, dragging him back into memories of every disaster he had imagined. This was not a test of skill. It was a simulation of every fear he once believed would destroy him. But this time Ren did not tremble. His breath held steady. His heartbeat stayed calm. His presence sharpened into something colder than steel, quieter than death. A mini-climax. Even as a masked figure charged him from behind, Ren did not flinch. He simply turned, precise, aware, unbroken. The masked attacker swung hard, but Ren stepped aside with the quiet certainty of someone who no longer negotiates with fear. He moved without rush, without panic. As if danger had become an old acquaintance he no longer reacted to, only acknowledged. His breath guided him. His awareness shaped him. His silence protected him. When the smoke cleared, Kaishi emerged from the shadows holding a cracked wooden mask, symbolic of every false identity Ren had worn. "You have mastered nothing external," Kaishi said. "You have mastered your response to it." Ren exhaled, a breath that felt like releasing a lifetime. The courtyard, once a storm, now looked like a place reborn. Even the wind moved differently around him, as if recognizing a new presence walking the earth. Kaishi placed the cracked mask in Ren's hands. "Leave the mountain," he said. "Carry only the stillness that cannot be stolen." As Ren descended the long stone staircase, a final truth settled into him. A man who does not abandon the present moment can never be taken by panic. Not by the world, not by the past, not even by himself. Yet somewhere behind him, deep within the monastery, a locked drawer he never opened clicked softly in the dark, as if something inside had just awakened.